This is Friday, the April the 8th blog post review from the week. This week we focused on mainly our voices in the characters, and we worked with Lucy, our voice coach, to really try and work on how we're saying things and how we're coming across to the audience. We especially focused on Chiron's and I's relationship within the scene because Lucy's take on it was that my character was very like looking up to Chiron and kind of in awe of him. So when she said this, I tried to kind of make my body language more towards him and kind of sat up straight when he came in the room, smiled at him more, and obviously like tilted my head so it looked like I was listening to him way more than I was Shazzy, because when it comes to Shazzy's character, my character is she doesn't really like her. She gets upset because she says she speaks her mind, and she just tries to control the other two characters within the scene from like fighting and bickering. When it comes to staging, we've got the scene set up really well. We still need I think it's a matter of getting into the space, and once we're finally in the space, we'll kind of be able to actually set the staging completely, which would be good. In regards to our costumes, we're all wearing kind of bright primary colours. Shazzy's wearing like a orange kind of suit, and I'm wearing a bright green dress, and Chiron's wearing like a grey blazer. I think these costumes they do reflect our characters a lot, because they just kind of represent who we are as characters. They also the bright colours go with our theme, which is great, and everybody else throughout the scenes are wearing the bright primary colours, which all just matches in. I like the fact that we are using primary colours because it does obviously represent the superhero theme, and it kind of relates back to that, which was also good when you do have like a deaf audience, so maybe that way they can kind of connect the two instead of just like not. One thing I do, however, think could be developed within our costumes is maybe that having the signers have a piece of costume that's the same, or the colour t-shirt that's the same. So for example, D would have a green t-shirt because I'm wearing a green dress. I think that would definitely help a deaf audience understand whose character and signer, which character and which signer like match, and who's signing whose part. Otherwise, I think it might get a bit confusing, as we do speak straight after each other, and sometimes when we are speaking, the signers aren't quite done, so the other signer stands up and starts doing their thing, signing before the other signer's finished, which could get pretty confusing if you were a deaf audience. In regards to the benefits section, we've completely changed it all around due to the fact that we hadn't got many people from our group in, which was pretty annoying, but it happens. The original idea was to resemble the corrupt side of the benefit system, with everybody playing different characters, and it was a very kind of narrative physical theatre piece and had a big storyline to it, but due to the fact that we didn't have many people, we couldn't really reenact what we had created already. So therefore we had to create this whole new piece, which was challenging at first because it's only like a few weeks to the show now, but it was challenging because we hadn't really thought about what we were going to do. So Molly actually like decided that we should get into pairs, which was a good idea because I think that way we could make our movement quicker and easier instead of just trying to all brainstorm one thing at once. So we got into pairs and all focused on different things we thought the bad sides of the benefit system. My partner was Bex, and we improvised a few movements at first. We started off smoking a cigarette, and then that went into spitting on the floor. We tried to do the cigarette movement as if Bex was my shadow and representing and symbolizing like an adult who is claiming benefits, and then Bex being my shadow child who's copying all the actions I do and would just be a bit out of time with me, although that timing did look a bit messy and I don't think our message was that clear when creating the piece. We also tried to use some like grabbing movements to represent like the grabbing and greediness of money, because in the scenario that we had created for our piece, we kind of did it that the man or the person was obviously illegally claiming these benefits, and he wasn't giving any to his children and nobody else, so he was just being extremely greedy with it all. For the spacing for that, we decided that we were all separated, with the good side of the benefit system being in the middle. They had a circle piece. I really liked the spacing for this section because it kind of represented how there's always going to be bad in the benefit system, and how nobody's ever, like in society, we don't have a clear slate. Nothing's ever going to be just good. So it represented both the good and the bad, which I thought was great when looking at the piece. However, my piece did get I did lose Bex from my piece because she was in the next section, the section before, which was the panorama scene, which they had been working on beforehand. This was pretty it was pretty annoying because then I had to rework all the movement before, but it was okay because I just kind of went over what me and Bex had done, changing a few moves here and there to try and represent it on my own, so I no longer had a kind of a shadow doing my movement. I was just doing it on my own, and I kind of, as the weeks go on, I do need to rehearse this more, definitely, because I don't have the timings right, because it's 4 sets of 8, and I definitely need to work on how many 8s I'm doing it for as I stop before the rest of my group stop. One of the next things we did was after this we ran the piece. Many people not being there made it much harder to run the piece smoothly. I've realised that over the weeks, not having a full cast even is extremely hard on the cast, and it takes its toll on all of us, because we never actually get to see what the piece will look like because we don't have a full cast, which is not very great when we do have our show coming up in a few weeks. I do, however, think we have been able to progress with our scene, even though the people that we had in our scene weren't there. So I think they're just cut from it now because they didn't learn the movement that they needed to learn. Overall, I think this section and this movement looks much, much sharper than it did before. The whole piece is coming together, definitely, and we are definitely improving and progressing as the weeks go by, which is great. It's amazing. I think we definitely need to focus on trying to get everybody in on time and trying to rehearse more of the systems. When it comes to characters, I think overall we've really progressed with our character reviews, and we've become much more confident in how we're portraying them, especially the TFL scene. When watching that, it touches me because my dad's a train driver, so I kind of understand how it is, and the story that they are telling is really true and is extremely important for this audience that we are going to perform it to. So I believe they will really enjoy it and see what's to come.